don't do any research assistant roles now, but I have done, and I felt that really stood me in good stead to not only get the PhD studentship when I'd got all this experience to talk about, but really I just used to do it in the summer. I don't do those positions now, but I do teach. So I'm an associate lecturer, and I started straight away. The first week I started the PhD, I started the teaching, which was wonderful. I couldn't wait because I really wanted to do it. Obviously, as I spoke about at the beginning, it was part of what inspired me to do a PhD. I've always wanted to be a teacher of some type, and I absolutely love it. I think it is really helpful because you get to know your topic area, you know how to communicate it to others. It helps with your writing when you're looking at other people's writing. It helps you with your writing and helps you to develop and how to develop your ideas and how to disseminate them. So I think it is a really useful thing to do, to be able to do that with your PhD if you so want to.
Okay, you mean, all these experiences I'm getting, if it's an advantage, if it adds anything to my PhD, of course it does, in several ways. One, before you teach, you have to do prep. It's still research. And remember, this is not far off from what I'm doing, my PhD is all about. And you are still talking to people. That prepares you for your Viva, where you have to start defending, because students ask most difficult questions, so you're always on your toe to be sure you're ahead of them at every point in time. This is the way you're building up for your Viva too. So I think they all relate. Yeah.
Yeah, I work part-time for a local charity called Artcore, and I'm their sort of artist, their in-base artist. I go to schools and I teach STEAM, which is science, technology, education, and art is in there now, and mathematics.
So I haven't done any work as a teaching or research assistant. I do other work outside of the PhD. So I have something that finances the PhD, which is helpful. And the other way in which it helps me doing work that's not related to my own research is that when I go away and do that, it's quite a nice break. And when I come back, I feel motivated and I find some new energy to keep going.
There's definitely advantages to taking on roles such as the research assistant or the teaching. I think the biggest advantage is being able to step away from just being a PhD student and into another role. I think it always brings conversations. So people always ask. The students are always interested about my research. So you step away from it in a different perspective, I guess. But talking about your research to other people inspires conversations, discussions, which perhaps I haven't thought about before. So if I come away from my research and go into a completely different research as a research assistant, I'm able to apply the skills that I have learned to the other project, but also what I have learned from the other project as a research assistant, I can take back and bring to my own research. So I think the more roles you take on with, to an extent of course, still making sure that the PhD is a priority, the more it makes you, first of all, appreciate your PhD and really see the value in it, but also the more critical evaluation and perspective you have on it, which is very important in the PhD, because if you are able to ask these questions through all the roles now, then it will be so much easier for you to appreciate, understand your PhD to begin with, and then of course when it comes to the examination final process you're more confident with it and comfortable with it.
I got a teaching position during my PhD, which was a brilliant experience and has helped me get a teaching job afterwards. I think finding that balance was a challenge, and I do think there's a fine line between how many hours you actually need teaching for it to be worth putting on your CV. I think I did a lot, and it's not maybe benefited me as much as I thought it might have done than me doing a lot less hours than I actually did. But it's definitely helped me going forwards. I just didn't manage that balance very well while I was doing it.
During my PhD, I've done a lot of graduate teaching assistant work as part of the scholarship fund. And this has really helped me in my confidence, especially in teaching. Although teaching wasn't necessarily something I wanted to go into, it's really helped me deal with presenting styles and things like that.
Absolutely. the research assistant work, as a PhD student, it's a research degree. So any research experience one can get, whether it's through training programs or as a research assistant, which is effectively a training program from the main researcher, the head researcher, the lead researcher, in my experience, has been most helpful to me on a different aspect. Working with another lead researcher is almost like having another supervisor. So you're getting another supervisor from a different aspect on a different project. So you're broadening your horizons, you're building up one's vocabulary. The teaching, again, when you're teaching other people, you're processing information yourself, you're learning more. And even though it's undergraduate courses, you think, I know all that, you actually don't, because you have to learn it and prepare for the seminars and everything. And you're also preparing for a future career in teaching, if that's where you want to go, and that's where I want to go. Yes, I would say both have their uses. I've enjoyed them both, and they've enhanced me as a person and me as a PhD student and my capabilities as a researcher.